What would a person have to do to get a visit from ICE?
For it to be in the country illegally, first of all, I mean, there's nothing in the immigration law that says you got to be convicted of a serious crime to be removed under the INA. So if you're in the country illegally, ICE can visit you. But right now, as we said repeatedly, and the President Trump's been clear, we're concentrating on the worst first, the public safety threats, the national security threats. And just yesterday, in the last 24 hours, ICE arrested over 308 serious criminals. Some of them were murderers. Some of them were rapists. Some of them raped a child. Some were sexual assault of a child. So ICE is doing their job, and they're prioritizing just as the president said they would. So the ICE is performing excellent right now out in the field, and they're going to continue every day.
That's, of course, the one and only Tom Homan, the new border czar, confirming that already hundreds of arrests have been made in the last 24 hours as mass deportations have officially begun, all as day number 3 of the golden age gets underway. Also, President Trump officially pardons Bitcoin icon Ross Ulbricht, freeing him after spending more than a decade in prison. And we're going to see what both of these two major events over the last 24 hours have to do with each other and what they mean for a free and prosperous future for all. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to give you a front row seat on the rise of a new golden age where faith, family, and freedom flourish. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe. But before we dive into things here, gang, I want to personally invite each and every one of you to an incredible live event that you won't want to miss, the America's Golden Age Summit. Mark your calendars for January the 30th, 2025 at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to explore how America is entering a new golden age filled with opportunities to thrive like never before. During this powerful 90-minute online event, my special guest and I will reveal some secrets for how you and your family can prosper in this new exciting era. From financial strategies to building a legacy rooted in freedom and faith, this summit is designed to help you succeed. Spaces are limited, so don't wait. Register now and secure your online spot today. I can't wait to see you there. President Trump has just officially signed a full and complete pardon for Ross Ulbricht. Now, Ross was sentenced to life in prison. In fact, it was a double life sentence without the possibility of parole back in 2015 for his role in creating and operating the online platform known as the Silk Road, which was one of the first platforms to use Bitcoin to conduct transactions. Now, authorities accuse Silk Road of trafficking drugs, weapons, other illegal items, and they held Ulbricht directly responsible for the platform's activities, very similar to what the EU is currently trying to do with Telegram founder Pavel Durov. In other words, because these platform owners refuse to allow Western government authorities to control them and their platforms, well, their platforms were shut down and they're being persecuted and jailed. So Ulbricht has long been seen as a symbol of what happens when citizens rise up, in this case through cryptocurrency and the internet, and emancipate themselves from establishment-controlled systems. And as such, Ulbricht has long been considered a heroic pioneer of the rise of what scholars call technopopulism. And technopopulism involves the dynamic wherein technological innovations like cryptocurrencies and social media are increasingly freeing populations from the establishment control of industries like banking and the legacy media. President Trump actually took to Truth Social and celebrated his pardon. He wrote out, quote, "I just called the mother of Ross William Ulbricht to let her know that in honor of her and the libertarian movement, which supported me so strongly, it was my pleasure to have just signed a full and unconditional pardon of her son, Ross. The scum that worked to convict him were some of the same lunatics who were involved in the modern-day weaponization of government against me. He was given 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Ridiculous." Elon Musk confirmed that he was in the Oval Office when the pardon was signed by Trump. Musk retweeted Trump's Truth Social post and reiterated his unwavering support for Ulbricht. The pardon is a fulfillment of a promise Trump made to the libertarian community when he spoke at their national conference, as well as the Bitcoin community. Ulbricht has long been seen, particularly by crypto enthusiasts, as a pioneer in the realm of technopopulism. You know, crypto, in effect, creates a wall of separation between finance and the Fed, as it were, right? Between currency and the state, and thereby represents the ultimate source of social freedom. Because if the government cannot control your money, then it can't control you. Debanking is one of the most pernicious ways in which the government uses its power to try to bring a rising populace to heel. And Ulbricht pioneered one of the first platforms that represented the complete emancipation of financial transactions from the status quo system. And the powers that be feared it so much that they crushed him for it. They absolutely crushed him. Trump's pardon really represents, in the end, nothing less than a new era of where the powers that be are actually bending the knee. It's the establishment now that is acquiescing to this rising, unstoppable techno-populist dynamic. It's ironically the government that's waving the surrender flag on this one, or better, under Trump. It's a new conception of the government that recalibrates political power around the even more powerful dynamic of technopopulism. And both Elon and Trump are on the front lines of this technopopulist revolt. Think it through. This is what's so cool about all this, and the way it kind of comes full circle here. We close the loop with this. If the status quo wanted to hold on to their power, if the status quo wanted to continue to effectively suppress these rising techno-populist dynamics, they should have thought twice about canceling President Trump. He would never have started his own parallel social media company, True Social, had they refrained from doing that. Elon Musk would never have bought Twitter had they honored the First Amendment and free speech. In the end, the establishment only has itself to blame. Their short-sighted persecutions only ended up guaranteeing their own eventual demise. Speaking of guaranteeing their own demise, immigration law is being enforced in the nation as we speak. Finally, mass deportations are being reported all over the nation, and CNN is having a hard time wrapping their tiny little minds around it.
Let me just make sure that I understand what you're saying, because at first you said that the first targets are those with criminal records, but you are also saying that those who are undocumented in the U.S., also who don't have criminal records, people who are working in their communities, maybe even have spouses who are American citizens, they could be swept up with ICE today as well?
What I'm telling you is when we go find our priority target, which is a criminal alien, if he's with others in the United States illegally, we're going to take enforcement action against him. We're going to enforce the immigration law.
What happens then? So the ICE officers gets an individual.
Now let's stop there for a second. Just stop there. We'll help you out, Dana, here. Do you see how shell-shocked they are? A major CNN anchor is literally stupefied by what she's hearing. She's been reduced to a stuttering mess. The woke establishment, represented particularly by the legacy media, they simply don't know. They don't know how to even process their woke world being dismantled right before their very eyes. I mean, this is so glorious. We're just 48 hours in. And I mean, you just sense the total and complete victory in all of this. CNN is literally stupefied in the face of watching their woke insanity that they've worked decades to amass dismantled right before their very eyes. And how is it being dismantled? Think about it. How is it being dismantled? How is their woke world being completely obliterated? How is it? Let us know in the comments. Let this hit you. It's being obliterated by the fact that the government now is simply enforcing the law. Let that hit you. I mean, this is what makes Tom Homan's job and getting on CNN and MSNBC or ABC or whatever. This is what makes his job one of the easiest jobs on the planet. No matter what question they ask him, he just explains to one woke media outlet after another, after another, after another. Guys, I love the way he talked. I have to work on my Tom Homan accent, my Tom Homan speech. He doesn't even bother to move his mouth that much, but his brain goes so fast. Guys, this isn't hard. We're enforcing the law. We're simply enforcing the law. That's it. That's ultimately what we're doing. We're just enforcing the law. You keep wanting to try to find one supposed exception after another, after another, after another, after another, when all we're doing here in the end is simply enforcing the law. We're simply enforcing the law the American people voted for through their representative officials. The day of selective law enforcement, what's more precisely known as anarcho-tyranny, where some people are immune from the law and others repressed by it, those days of selective law enforcement are over. You lost. And we're going to make sure, we're going to guarantee that loss is permanent, that you are permanently shut out of power. But that exchange gets even better.
An individual or a set of individuals and apprehends them. What next? What do these ICE officers do with them? Because in some cases, and you know this far better than I, they haven't been deported in the past because their country of origin won't take them.
Well, what happens after arrest? They're taken to an ICE office and they're processed and put in detention. While they're in detention, ICE officers work on travel documents. The host country sends travel documents saying, yeah, this is our citizen, this is our national. Then we make flight arrangements. So they could be in detention from a few days for a few weeks until that removal was made happen.
What if the host country doesn't want them, as has happened in the recent past?
We have various plans. We have various plans. Other countries are willing to take them. We have third safe country removals. So that's something we're working through. But I think you're going to see less of the recalcitrant countries. Countries won't take their citizens back under this president, because this president has vowed that these countries will take them back. So I'll leave that up to the White House. But there will be negotiations with those countries who are pushing back on recalcitrancy, and they will be removed.
You know, that's a very, very nice way of saying that Trump is going to make them an offer they can't refuse, right? Recalcitrant countries will be made to bend. And you'll notice that even Dana Bash, I mean, she didn't even remotely challenge that. She didn't challenge that because they all know, the legacy media themselves are currently experiencing the brunt of Trump's political power. Remember, what the legacy media can't quite wrap their heads around is how they've lost what's called agenda setting power. And agenda setting refers to the various ways in which political power was fundamentally not in the hands of politicians or government officials. Rather, political power really was in the hands of media pundits. What the media focused on, the issues and policies that were given 24/7 time and attention and advocacy by the editorial boards and the like. Those were the issues and policies that ultimately passed. We lived in many ways under what some call a mediaocracy rather than a democracy. In other words, what editorial boards wanted, not what the people wanted, what editorial boards, what CNN wanted, what MSNBC wanted, what Georgie Stephanopoulos wanted. That ultimately became the priorities for politicians in exchange for favorable media coverage. And what CNN anchors are learning the hard way here is that those days of mediocrity are officially over. A new populist wave has washed across the nation and changed our politics forever. The people rose up and they took their country back, whether in the form of crypto that emancipated wealth and currency from the control of government, or in the form of social media platforms that emancipated information and news from the control of the legacy media. Either way, the people have risen up. And through Trump 2.0, we have taken our country back. Populism is the wave of the future, and there is nothing the old liberal guard can do to stop it.